So we're at 79%. It says 35 minutes remaining. That would be to 100%, as we have enough to reach Missoula. And it gives us a buffer of 18%. So we need about 7% more to basically make it home. But we're charging super slow right now. We are at 29 kilowatts only, so we could blast to Missoula, plug in there and easily get double that, and spend less than half the time instead of waiting here. So I think we'll just get going. The weather doesn't look too pretty. It started snowing. It's almost rain. It's pretty warm. It is 41 degrees. So I think we blast over to Missoula, and once we get there we'll know if we need to charge or not, and we'll go from there. Battery very low. Yep, we are at 8%. And we are in Missoula in front of O'Reilly's, the auto parts store, since our wiper plates decided to disappear. Let's go see if there's anything left on there or what happened. Yes, the adapter is still on here. That's what it is. The wiper blade actually came apart. Yep, adapter is still on here. The wiper blades came apart, but we had extremely high winds, but they should never fly off. That's it. The windshield did really good. Being in that storm, it shed water extremely good. I didn't think this would work without the blades, but let's get back in here. But I was shedding water really good, and I didn't really have any issues not seeing anything. And because it got dark out, it was easy to see through the windshield anyway. You don't see all the dirt in the dark usually, so that made it easier. And then we got to drive over to the Supercharger, which is on the other side of town, and we should get there with 5%. We did really good until we hit that storm. Once we hit that storm, we dropped about 4% within a few miles because we had extreme headwinds there, so that was pretty bad. But yeah, let's get some plates going here and then we'll go charge. Here we are, 4% left, and so since last charge we have 125 miles at 382 watt-hours per mile. So we didn't come close to what was estimated, just basically due to these high winds we had, extremely high winds. So we got the low power warning. Let's get this out of the way. And where's the charge screen? Here we go. Just a little itty bitty left, so let's plug it in and go from there. So we got the wiper plates replaced. Got the brand new blades on here. Well, the car almost looks still clean. Or not. Oh heck, got some snowy slush buildup in the front there. It's been quite a ride making it here. And so we still got about 30 miles to go. So here we are. Whoa, I just seen 99 and it dropped to 98, and it's dropping rapidly as always. But when we left Butte, it was at 28 or something. So we got at least three times as much, almost 4 times as much speed right now. And it says an hour 15 minutes. That's to 100%. We only got about 30 miles to go, so preferably about 25%. We'll see. Yeah, about 25 is probably all right to make it there. So yeah, we'll hang out here a little bit. At least this should be a lot shorter hanging out here than in Butte, because we should stay above 60 at least till the 25 or 30%. So we should be oops, it just got dark. There's more lights somewhere back here. Maybe we gotta open the door real quick. There we go, then the back. So yeah, we're at least twice as fast, actually even a little bit faster. So we'll see. Yeah, going for about 25, maybe 30%, and we're coming up to 10% already. And here's another car pulling in, a Model 3. Wife and kid went to the bathroom, and I guess I might as well too, just because got nothing else to do. What else? Let's look over here real quick again. Total trip so far, We are at 689.6 miles. So we're coming close. By the time we're coming home, we're over 700 miles. And we average 374 watt-hour per mile. Not too bad. Oh, and the acceleration reduce thing is still there. It's been there the whole time. Well, right now I can't turn the car on because it's plugged in. But so basically on the dial that you usually have here that shows energy consumption and regen, there you can see the limitation at the top on the consumption side. So it was limited always around about 240 kilowatts. And it was the lowest when we drove from Island Park to West Yellowstone. It was down to 160 kilowatts. Well, that was the highest limitation, the highest restriction to the lowest point. And that was the lowest I seen. And now as we pulled in here, it was probably, it's just above 160, maybe 200 if that. So we're restricted again. And that has never changed. I'm sure it has nothing to do with battery temperature, because the battery was warm. It did not even precondition the battery for supercharging here. It did not precondition it in Butte either. We've been driving enough, and so I don't think it was temperature related at all. I suspect bad contactors or a bad battery pack fuse. And I suspect we, most likely, I think the contactors. Contactors over time, they kind of get, they wear out, they get kind of burn marks or marks on it where they actually open and close the contact for the electricity to flow through. And that can lead to a voltage drop, which in turn means as voltage drops, that means it's a resistor, it's a resistance there, and that means it heats up. And if the car measures voltage on one side and voltage on the other side, and there's a difference, then the car knows there is a problem, and that would possibly cause this. Also, when we got the car and I floored the pedal early on, I heard a noise, and when I talked to the Tesla tech at some point, he said it's probably the contactor not properly closing. And that could be another thing. I mean, contactors wear out, there's kind of spring and stuff in there, so it may just not suck down as good as it needs to properly close anymore. And so I got a feeling I got to replace contactors to get rid of this acceleration reduced thing. But not today. So we are already at 17%, already added 9 kilowatt hours. We're still going at 78, so we're still going more than twice as fast as we were in Butte. So this goes much quicker here, and we can come home with empty. We don't need any in the battery when we get home whatsoever, because we can plug in and that's it. So that's the nice thing about an EV. So if this would not be an EV right now, we would be at the gas station down here rather than at the charger up here, because we needed to fill up before we go home, so we have fuel again to get out away from home. But with the EV, we just need to make it home, and then we plug it in, and tomorrow morning we're ready to go again, no problem whatsoever. So that's the really cool part about electric cars. You fuel up at home. And here comes wife and daughter, so they're back, and then we'll give it a few more percent and off we go. Here we are, just a couple minutes later. We're already at 25%. We're still going at 74 kilowatts, so it was a good choice to leave Butte and come here, because in Butte we would have been sitting for at least 20 to 30 minutes, and here it took, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Not very long anyway. So we'll be blasting home from here. We made it home with 8%, so we did actually pretty good. Still, we had some nasty weather and winds and pretty bad road conditions. Traffic was going really slow, and it was actually kind of fun with this car to see how well it handled in all these conditions. But main reason is we have studless snow tires on it. This is just the key. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere with this car. But so yeah, it was a fun trip. We're back home at 8%. Haven't plugged in yet. Let's see here. Where are we? Trip B, 716.7 miles. That's what we drove total on this trip. And we used 269.3 kilowatt hours. A good 3 times the battery used. And we averaged 376 watt hours per mile. And then at the top, it was 27.1 miles from Missoula to home. We used 11.5 kilowatt hours, and look at that, 425 watt hours per mile. Yes, it was thirsty, no doubt about it. And let's see here real quick. The temperature is 36 degrees. It is now 6:45 p.m. and yeah, now you can actually see there we have that limitation right there. Okay, that's what this is all about, is this right there. And it is down to right at 160 kilowatts right now. So that's about where it was driving to West Yellowstone from Island Park that one morning. And we're there again, and I'm pretty sure the battery is warm after, I mean, we put 300 miles on today, so. And we did supercharging, we charged overnight. Yeah, so I think we have a problem, but we'll solve that. So, here at home, well, we got a frozen Chevy Bolt over there. Where this car is at right here, we had our Model 3, and it was undercover, but it was also covered in white, so we had lots of snow blowing around here. We got about 3 inches while we were gone, and there seems to be an issue with our boiler, so I will need to go look at that. And then well, I'll make another little video here probably tomorrow and maybe talk a little bit more about this trip. Well, it is not the next morning. It is actually a couple weeks later. And by the time I'm recording this, you may already have seen part 1 of this whole trip. So time flies when you're busy. And when we came home that day, our boiler, which provides the heat for the house and the water, had an issue. So that was more important than anything else at that point. So in the meantime, I did obviously edit some, or quite almost everything. I found that on camera, it doesn't look as bad as it was in real life. I mean, the snowstorms were pretty bad, but if you're not there, you don't feel the wind, you don't have the noise. And on camera, it doesn't really look like that. There's several times where it was like snowing or raining, but it doesn't even really show up on the camera at all. We had an oncoming truck at some point, and it blew so much snow around. It was a whiteout for us for several seconds. In the video, it doesn't look so bad. So, I don't know, to you, this whole trip may look not too bad at all, but it was pretty tough overall. I mean, I'm used to driving under conditions like that, so it is maybe not extreme for me, but for most people, driving like this is extreme driving. And we had a winter storm warning, and travel was not advised on the way home anyway. And it was pretty bad. And yeah, especially when our wipers got ripped off, we had huge winds there. And you can't really tell. You can't tell in the video how bad it was, but it was pretty bad. So traffic was going overall pretty slow in most areas. We were not going super fast. So it was a long drive too, and it is tiring to drive under conditions like that. In regards to the car just done fine. It handled fine. The rear wheel drive doesn't have any issues with the snow or the weather or anything. I mean, it handled great. We even met a lady in West Yellowstone while we were at the Supercharger, and she came over and asked, "How do you drive this car? I got the same exact car. I can't drive it in the wintertime. I'm about to sell it." And I told her she needs to put studdless snow tires on, and she took a picture of the snow tires. So that's the key. Good tires is definitely something you need to have, but these rear wheel drives do just fine in the wintertime. This one, being a 2013 now, basically 9 years old, having around 200,000 miles on it, it still does great. Really not an issue. And with that mileage and that age, they come down into a price range where some people actually start thinking about possibly buying this. And I have to say, I think it was an overall good purchase for us, since it works fine. And that trip really put the car to the test. And the car is rated at about 260 miles, I believe, EPA rating. And we got, about 150 plus, about 150 to 170, maybe 180 miles max out of it. That would have been the max we could have gotten out of it. But obviously high speeds kill the range. There was 3 of us. There was stuff we had with us, so weight kills the range. These road conditions kill the range. The wind kills the range. There were just so many things that worked against the car in regards to range. So yeah, you use pretty much 100% of the charge in about 180 miles instead of 260. Got to heat the cabin. That takes quite some power too. So yeah, overall, but the car done good. By the way, in a gas car, it's the same thing. These things work against you and they will use more gas. People just never think about it because there's usually a gas station around somewhere. And here we just didn't have the option of charging like we would have the option for gas stations at this point in time. But on the way home we had multiple chargers available, so there it was really no big deal. On the way there it was a little trickier. So yeah, it was a interesting trip because we did not really know the car. We done the summer trip to the coast in Oregon. And so this was the first winter trip that was that long, so that was a little bit different. It was somewhat exciting. It was really cool to see that the car handled so well. So there's no reason not to buy one of those. So overall, the trip went just smooth. We liked it. We still like the car. We would take the trip again with this car, no problem. That this car is large and comfortable and has enough room for luggage and other things. And since it's only a rear-wheel drive, the frunk is huge, so you can stuff a lot of things in there. Yeah, so this is maybe something you might want to consider if you are looking into buying an electric car or maybe buying a second electric car. As these come down in price a little bit, compared to when they were new. This was a $100,000 car new. I couldn't have afforded that. But down to now, when we purchased it, the prices were still a little bit lower. In 2021, the prices for all used cars came up quite a bit, including electric cars. So nowadays you're probably around $30,000 to $40,000 for one of those cars, depending on how many miles it has and how it is equipped. But the trip was great. It was fun. It was exciting. Sometimes a little too much excitement. But the car definitely did great, and we would do it again. Well, if you watched all 4 of those and you watched them all the way through, I really appreciate it. There went a lot of work went into this, and we are super happy if people watch them. Hopefully you already gave us a thumbs up on the first 3 parts and give us a thumbs up on this part 4 here. And if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our channel. We got more content similar to this coming with our 3 electric cars currently, as well as stuff around Montana, snowmobiling, winter in Montana, our critters here, and so on. Well, in any event, thank you for watching. Goodbye.